Hi, this is Wendy. Today we're going to talk about planned pooling, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a scarf like this with a pooling yarn. This is a scarf that I made a few years ago and I've had a lot of comments on it, so I thought I would show you the technique today and you can make one of these for yourself. I couldn't find this yarn back again, but I did go to Walmart the other day and found this one. It does matter which yarn you use. It has to be a yarn that has consistent color changes, meaning that it switches from the black to the blue to the light blue and so on in a consistent manner, and the length of each color is the same each time. So as it rotates through the colors, you'll get a consistent number of stitches. So a random variegation or like a hand-dyed variegated yarn is not going to work. You have to pick one that has consistent color changes. And this inexpensive yarn from Walmart I know does that, but you could look at other ones as well. So you could take the yarn and lay it out through a series of changes, full changes, and then see if it matches up each time, right? So if I start with the, let's start with the navy and make sure that it goes through each color in a consistent manner, that they're always the same length or very, very close to the same length. See how it switches from the teal to the navy at the same point? So that's the number one thing. It has to be a yarn that has consistent color changes so that you can do the pooling. Okay, so how do you go about figuring out how many stitches and so on? Well, this yarn ball recommends a 5.5mm knitting needle or crochet hook. It works with either knitting or crochet, but we're going to look at crochet today. So I'm going to start with that recommended size of 5.5mm. So the first thing you need to do is chain your way through all of the colors. Not too tight. So I started with black and I want to go until I get to black again. It doesn't really matter how many chains you have. We just need to work through the whole color sequence. So that's step one. Okay, so now I'm at the black. And I'm going to single crochet my way back across the chains with each color. Again, going through the whole color sequence. So because my last chain becomes the first part of the single crochet, I'm going to start with a black chain, go back to the second stitch, and single crochet across. Now I'm back to the black. I'm going to turn and try this again. So what we are looking for is the number of single crochets it takes to get through the sequence and how many of each. So in this row, I did 4 black, 3 navy, and we're looking at the legs of the stitch. Don't worry so much about the top. We want the 2 legs to be the same as much as possible when we're pooling. So on this first attempt I had 4 black, 3 navy, 2 teal, 5 light blue, 2 more teal, and 3 navy. I'm going to try it again because I want to make sure I can do that consistently. When you turn, don't chain 1. Okay, we're always just going to turn and not chain 1 because then you'll lose a little bit of yarn in that chain 1 and we need to keep it the same. So let's try this again. I'm going to try and do the 4 black, Okay, now the blue loop is on the hook, so I'm going to start counting navy ones. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 sets of navy legs. 1, 2 sets of teal legs. 5 of the light blue. 2 teal. 3 of the navy, and now I'm back to black again for the last one. Okay, so there's my sample. And like I said, what we're looking at is the legs of the stitch. We want both of the legs to be the same color. Sometimes, like for example over here, the top of it is slightly different, but we have 2 teal sets of legs there. So counting from this side, I've got 3 of the navy. I'm not so worried about the top. I'm looking at the legs. 3 of the navy, 2 of the teal, 5 of the light blue, 2 of the teal, 3 of the navy, and 4 of the black. You can see how this one is a little bit mixed. The key though is that I have to know how many stitches it takes to get through the whole sequence. So 4 and 3 is 7, and 2 is 9, and 5 is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so I have figured out that I have 4 black stitches, 3 navy, 2 teal, 5 light blue, 2 more teal, and 3 more navy. So 4 and 3 is 7, and 2 is 9, and 5 is 14, and 2 is 16, and 3 is 19. So 19 stitches in the sequence. Okay, so that's the important number there. We're going to go over to the computer and plug it into a program and figure out what we can do with that sequence of 19 stitches. Now if you find that it didn't come out that clean, that it's hard to get consistent color changes, try going up or down half of a size on your hook and see if you can get, so say for example I kept getting 2.5 navy and it wasn't a very clean color change, I would go up or down a little bit on my hook size until I got to a point where I could pretty consistently change from 4 to 3 to 2 to 5 to 2 to 3. Okay, that's the important thing. You will need to count for planned pooling. If you don't like counting your stitches, this is not the strategy for you. But it's a fun technique, and I'm going to show you how to use this to make a scarf or a pillow or something with a planned pooling pattern, like you see in my scarf here with the nice diamond shape. On my computer here, I'm just going to go to a Google search, and the program we're looking for is plannedpooling.com. It brings us to a screen that looks like this, and it defaults to just these 2 colors. So I need to change this to the colors that I've got. I'm just going to put in a 10 there for now. And my first color is black, so I'll choose that. My next color is navy, so I can leave that one. Then I need to add the teal. That's my next color. So something like that, and then I want it to be differentiated enough from the blue, so something like that. So find the color and then select it on the gradient. Now I need to add the light blue because that's the next color. Maybe a little bit lighter. Oh, that's too purple. Okay. Now I need to go back to the teal, so I can just copy and paste this number, this color number, into that box. And then after the teal, I'm back to the navy to finish the sequence. So copy that one and put it in there. So there's my color sequence from the sample. Now I need to tell the program how many stitches I did in each color. So black was 4 stitches, so I'll leave that one the way it is. Navy is 3. Teal is 2. Light blue is 5, so I'll leave that one. Another 2 in the teal and 3 in the navy. So now I've told it which colors I need. I also need to tell the program whether I'm doing flat knitting or crochet or in the round. So I'll leave it at flat because I'm going back and forth. Now I just need to play with the number of stitches to get a result that I'm happy with. So let's start with 19 because that was the number in our sequence. And it makes sense that you would get a very linear result like this because it's doing the same 19 just going back and forth with the 4 black at one end and then the 4 black at the other end. And now we can go up or down by 1 or 5 stitches and just see what we get. So adding a stitch each time, it looks really random. And then at some point it comes together. So 28, that looks pretty good. I could do that for a scarf. 29, maybe even better. So I'm going to write that one down. The nice thing about planned pooling is you will get a similar result on each side. You might get the front that looks like this and the back that's like that, but it looks good. So 29 could work. If I wanted to do a pillow, I'm going to keep going up. There's 38, so it's twice the number of stitches in my color sequence. 39, that looks a little better. So it really is a matter of personal taste what you want it to look like. But if you want it to look planned, there we go, 47 or 48. I like that one even better. So 48 would be good for a pillow. And the more you add, the finer the definition on the pooling, right? So that could be cool for a blanket if you want to do that. I'm up to 65, 66, 67, right? So that could make a nice blanket if I wanted to have an overall look like that. Now I have done this in single crochets, but you could do this in other stitches as well, like a moss stitch or a half double crochet. I did try out this yarn with a half double crochet and ended up, of course, with a shorter sequence of color changes. So for example, I only had 3 black stitches when I did a half double crochet. The important thing is to be able to change consistently from one color to the next with your number of stitches. So if you did it in a half double crochet, you would just substitute in the numbers that you got, click through the 1 stitch longer, shorter buttons until you get a result that you like. So I'm going to go back to that 29 because I liked that one for a scarf. You can save your chart down here to the clipboard, which is really great if you want to come back to it. And in this case, it's telling me to start with 1 navy stitch followed by 4 black ones. Well, how do I know? Because there's no numbers or squares. Well, I know that with this pattern, I did 4 black, 3 navy, 2 teal, 5 light blue. So just judging the number of the length of the bar, right? I know this is probably the 2 teal, and so this is going to be 1 navy. So I'm going to chain until I get to the point where I can start with 1 navy single crochet and continue from there. And my chain will have to be at least 30 stitches long, right? One more than my number of stitches in the block here. So I need a chain of 30 plus, and I need to start with a navy one. Then I continue until I get to the 2 teal stitches here on the other side, ready to do the 5 light blue. Then I turn and go back with the 5 light blue, the 2 teal, the 3 navy, the 4 black, continuing back and forth like this on those 29 stitches, making sure that I do exactly 19 stitches for each sequence. So trying as much as possible to keep it to 4 black, 3 navy, 2 teal, 5 light blue, 2 teal, 3 navy. And that will give me this nice result. If you get off by even 1 stitch, you're going to get something that looks like this over time. So let's go back and try this out. So I've chained until I have more than the 29 I need for my scarf here. And I have enough blue yarn to do my first single crochet like it showed on the chart. And then 4 black, 3 navy, 2 teal, 5 light blue, 2 teal, and 3 navy. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4 black, 3 navy, and 2 teal. I think that's where my chart finished up. So that should be 29. Yes, 29. Okay, so I won't worry about the rest of these chains. I'll cut that and finish that off later. Now I'll go back and make sure that I'm counting the numbers. So I need 5 of the light blue right now. Two teal, 3 navy, 4 black, 3 navy, and 2 teal. Now, does it matter if you get off by half a stitch here or there? Not terribly. You can recover from that. If you find you're getting off by enough that it affects your total number of stitches, then you've got a problem. So you have to have 19 every time in the sequence. If you're getting off by too much, just pull some out adjust your tension a little bit to get back to that correct number. The problem won't show up for several rows. So if you get off by one stitch and one of your sequences is 20 or 17 instead of the 19 that you needed, you won't notice it for a few rows, and then you'll have to frog it back by several rows. So making sure that every single sequence is 19 stitches long, and as much as possible you get the same consistent sequence every time. 5 light blue, 2 teal, 3 dark blue, 4 black, 3 dark blue, 2 teal, and 5 light blue. Right, you can see I've got kind of a half and half one there, but now I've got 2 teal and 3 blue. So overall, my sequence is still going to come out to 19. And again, don't chain one at the end of the row. Just turn around and go back. Otherwise, you're going to lose some of that stitch. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so now I'm ready to do my 3 navy. So I think that gives you the idea. I'm going to go and work on this until I get a long enough piece that you can see the repetition in the pooling. Okay, so I've got about 10 inches done on my pooled scarf, and you can really see the effect coming together now. Looking at this now, I think this would make a fun hat, one of those square hats. If I folded it in half and added a ribbing along the bottom, maybe a couple of tassels on the corner. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this video and that you will give this a try yourself. I hope it inspired you to try planned pooling. Drop me a comment if you did try it for yourself. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It helps me to know what kind of content people are looking for if you subscribe to the videos. I hope that you have a great day and that you'll give planned pooling a try. See you next time.